Hi, this is Zach Meir with the US stock highlights here on Share Talk for St. Patrick's Day, the 17th of March, and it is a Wednesday. Starting off with the J's, rather unusually, JFIN Group, and here we can see the probably the spike of the century on a chart for an ordinary equity here, up to what was that around the $30 level in June, and it's taken quite a while for the shares to regroup after that, but we've got a rising trend channel in place since the summer, and the current view is that with the latest break above the initial March resistance, which was at the $4.79 level. Above that, on an end-of-day close basis, we're looking towards $7 to $7.50, which is the top of a June rising trend channel from last year. Moving on to a stock which is looking pretty encouraging at the moment, Permistras Group. Here we've got a nice breakout, which basically started early last week, breaking the January resistance there around the $9.36 level, and we've got a second break, I suppose, which is more important currently, with the $10.95 initial March resistance above that on an end-of-day close basis, and we're looking to the top of the rising trend channel from April last year, as high as $18 could do the trick by the end of next month. So above $10.95, looking to $18 by the end of April for Permistras Group. Moving along to a stock which I think has been covered here a few times now, Oriental Culture, name that's difficult to forget. Here we've got not much of a chart actually, but the key here was and still is that neckline resistance. We've got peaks there around the $6.25 level, and then also probably now more relevant, yesterday's intraday high at $7.25 rather. Above that on an end of day close basis, looking towards the resistance line there from December, up to as high as $14.70 by the end of next month. Obviously, it's been a bit of a rocky ride with the shares trading either side of the neckline, but that is life, and we've got to expect that volatility today. We've got a key reversal to the upside, hence that $7.25 level quite key. We don't want to see the shares back below that anytime soon. On to another stock which has had coverage of late and is flourishing at the moment, Onconova Therapeutics. Here we had the bear trap rebound at the beginning of the month from below the 50-day moving average at 89 cents. Currently, we've got the 50-day line at 101, and at least while above yesterday's low at $1.04, we are looking for further upside, possibly up to the $1, well, I suppose up to the $2 area, which is the top of the rising trend channel from August last year. If you're trying to be finicky regarding the stop loss on this, probably yesterday's high at $1.12 on an end-of-day close basis, which is the floor of the overnight gap. It might be a contender, otherwise it's 104 or 101, depending on your risk profile. Probably the most exciting stock of the moment in terms of the charting configuration that I've seen over recent days is Cassava Sciences. Just great bear trap rebound, bear trap gap rebound, so gap to the upside on the 9th of March, and then breaking recent neckline resistance. So the initial March resistance there at $55.84. Above that on an end-of-day close basis, looking towards $100 as soon as the end of next month in terms of the destination for the shares. Not really easy to make a stop loss any tighter than around the $54 area at the moment. Moving along to a stock which has also had a bit of coverage recently, TAOP Inc. And here the reason is that we've had another great chart in terms of the gap higher, also breaking and reaching the same level as the spike of February around $9.69. But the view here is, at least while we're above the resistance on the way down at $11.76, we're looking to a top of, well, a resistance line projection target from quite long ago now, back in 2018, the end of 2019. And that resistance line projection currently heading towards the $18 mark. That could be seen as soon as the end of next month. So overall, while we're above the $11.50 area, looking towards $18 for TAOP. Stock which is in line with our recent penchant for all things pharmaceuticals is TNXP Pharmaceuticals. Here it's been a bit of a rocky ride of late, but we've had a bear trap from below the 50-day moving average. The view now is that at least while there's no end-of-day close back below that late February peak at $1.40 on an end-of-day close basis, we're looking towards $2 and the top of the range from last month. Time frame on that as soon as the end of next month. Another pharma stock coming up, strangely named Timber Pharmaceuticals. Here we can see that shares they've also had a bit of a rough ride so far over the last month or so at least, but looks as though while yesterday's swing lows in place at $2.12, on an end of day close basis we could retest the March resistance around $3.65 over the next couple of weeks. So let's see if the bulls can get that going. A stock which was rather an unlikely candidate for bullish greatness was TKAT. It doesn't really sound like a stock which is going to go places, but we managed to not only hit the first target area around $6.50, we then managed to hit the pie in the sky target, which was up towards $14, which has been overshot today. Rather difficult to come up with a higher target than that, but I suppose one can say that at least while we're above the $14 area, we could see a fresh leg to the upside, perhaps up towards the destination of this steeper resistance line there from the start of last year, as high as $25. But at this stage, probably we'd just be happy to see the shares consolidate $14 to $16 ahead of any move higher in the near term. It would be rather surprising if we manage that for TKAT. Onto a stock which has a nice ring to it, which sometimes is all that it is required to get a decent bullish situation. Liquid Media Group sounds like a serious company. Here we've got a break of that resistance line there from December 2019. That was at $3.10. And while we're above that area on an end of day close basis, looking towards $4.50 by the end of next month, which is the top of a rising trend channel from the end of 2019. We've got a couple of stocks to go now. First one that is looking encouraging if you are somebody who wants a near-term charting situation, a technical charting situation. That's set on the basis of the gap to the upside back up through the December resistance. That was at $40.91, and above that on an end of day close basis we're looking to a target as high as the top of the rising trend channel from this time last year, as high as $60. That could be seen sometime in May. So any dips at the moment towards the low 40s area currently regarded as a buying opportunity on a technical basis, of course. Finishing off with a stock which is making its debut here, and it's called ZKIN International. Rising trend channel from back in November. Floor of the channel currently running at $6.50, and above that we're looking for a retest basically of the February resistance around $12.50. Best case scenario target the top of that rising trend channel from November as high as $15.50 by the end of May. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.